Welcome to 60 Days Insider. I'm Dan Abrams. Coming up next,
You're so full of you stink.
an intense moment on set.
If you want to take it outside, we can.
We've watched as Phase 2 participants struggle to find their footing at the halfway point of Sheriff Knoll's unprecedented undercover program at the Clark County Jail.
Come here.
Now joining me in studio are Sheriff Jamie Knoll and Captain Scotty Maples, along with former participants from Phase 1, Zack and Jeff. So what was it like seeing yourself on television?
Well, at times I wanted to kind of cower in a corner, but you know, it was actually kind of interesting. I actually
Tough to watch, though?
It was tough to watch at times. You know, watching it on TV, I started realizing some of the mistakes I made. So,
Zack, when you were here last, you had some very pointed comments for Jeff.
Personally, coming from my perspective, this is no affront to you. If I was on a call and you showed up as my backup, I'd call for other backup. And that's not an affront to you, but I would not trust my life in your hands.
You stand by that?
I still stand by that, and like I said, it's not meant to be pointed or derogatory towards Jeff. It's just I feel like there are some people that are cut out for this line of work and some people that aren't. And from the little bit of time I spent with Jeff in the pod, from what I saw, he's not best suited for this type of work.
because I was a failed inmate.
Not because you were a failed inmate, but because you didn't fight back.
Ricky, his first punch knocked off my glasses. I can't see a thing. I didn't know where he was at that time. That's why I kind of cowered. What nobody knows about me is I have been casino security in Nevada. I've seen a person get killed. I've seen a person get stabbed. I've seen a person get pistol whipped. Any security officer I ever worked with would know that I had their back. I can handle my in any situation.
People can say, and I'm not saying that he's lying, but people can tell me I'm Billy Badass. That doesn't make them Billy Badass.
You know, Zack, you were in the pod with me for a few days, and then you made a snap judgment. At no point had we ever talked. You saw me at a distance, but you never talked to me, and I think I heard you say you were distancing yourself from me.
I distanced myself from you because you have to own the room when you walk into the room. You don't project that air of confidence, and I'm not trying to bash you, and I'm not trying to say don't pursue your goals. If you desire it that badly, then you will make a good correctional officer. You just have to keep plugging at it.
Are you still pursuing that?
No.
Why not?
I decided to pursue my genealogy business. I figured, you know, it's not because I didn't think I'd be able to handle being a correctional officer. I just feel like, you know, my family's been pushing me to start a business in genealogy since I'm so good at it. I specialize in finding living relatives, so there's a lot of people that want to know where they came from, and I want to be able to be the one to help them with that.
All good. You've moved on to other things.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean,
Well, Jeff, you know we appreciate everything you did, and I don't want you to think we're beating you up, because that's not the case. It's good that you found your calling, and that's pretty important.
So let's move on from talking about Jeff in the program, and let's talk about Brian in the program. Brian has been hazed like we've never seen before. Much worse than what you got.
Hey, Brian. You are so hot. Can I lay with you?
He was given 2 signals to give. He did not give them. We weren't alerted of it. But once he did give the signal, we got him out of there rather quickly.
What he went through, I was pretty appalled by it, but they used the almighty word. That meant, hey, you got to fight. And he obviously didn't want to do that, and I don't blame him.
You think that was bad? Wait till everybody goes to sleep.
Circumstances arise where you have to just think about the big picture.
I don't know the extent of Daffron's power outside of D-Pod, but everybody knows who he is, and I believe that I would not be any safer in C-Pod than D-Pod.
Jeff, what did you make of what happened to Brian? Would you have gotten out if you were him as well?
I would have absolutely gotten out.
Brian actually didn't leave because of the hazing that he got. He left because he was called a bitch. He stuck to his training. We have that word that when you're called that, you know it's serious, and he checked out because of that. He didn't check out because of the hazing. And not that we condone it and we think it's funny or anything like that, But it just kind of shows maybe some of his willpower and how intelligent he was, though, to see through that, to know it was just some jokes.
We saw something in this season, which we didn't see in season 1, which is this sort of kangaroo court.
Court's in session.
Where the inmates call it to order and they decide if someone's guilty. It seems everyone's guilty who gets called up into this court.
Prosecutor Daffron.
Sheriff Captain, did you guys have any idea that this sort of thing was happening?
No, we didn't have any idea that the kangaroo court was going on. It's something we definitely don't condone. We don't like that's going on.
Bring it down to room 6. The actions are going to commence down here. Okay. That don't count.
Let the lashings commence.
3, 2, 1. 4, 1.
I think people at home are going to be saying, why aren't they stepping in sooner? How did they let this continue to happen?
We have 2 corrections officers guarding 300 inmates. At this point, we had a very outdated camera system that we were using. Now we got the updated one. Inside the cell, we did not have the capability of having a pan, tilt, zoom camera to see inside these cells.
At the time that this show was being filmed, we see the footage just shortly before people sitting at home. Had we had seen that ahead of time, absolutely would have stepped in and done something about it.
Oh. Dude, they really got you.
I mean, we've been able to upgrade some of the cameras since this, but it's tough.
Sheriff Knoll, you were quick to use force as soon as you heard about this.
We usually, generally, because it requires a lot of staff, we only do it when it's absolutely necessary. We wanted to get a grip on that right away because that's pretty serious.
So, Zack, it seems your conversations with Ashleigh at this point are not going well.
The only reason I can't communicate ever. For what? I love you. I'm sorry. I was not trying to upset you. I'm not attacking you or anybody else.
You don't understand how really bad you can make someone feel sometimes.
Anybody who watched the first season saw jail didn't really have the same effect on me that it had on a lot of the participants. And while she was in jail, I was traveling for work quite a bit, taking care of the baby, something I'm definitely not trained for and had never done before. So I didn't really have a comprehension of what Ashleigh was going through while she was in jail until watching this footage. If I had known what it was actually like inside for her, I would have reacted totally differently.
So you made a snap judgment about your own wife, too?
I didn't make a snap judgment. I made a judgment based on knowing who my wife is and having lived with her for the past 7 years.
Okay.
And the situation between you and me is a totally different situation than the one between me and my wife. And I would appreciate it if you would leave my wife out of it. Because what's between you and me is between you and me. You don't talk about my wife, I won't talk about your wife.
I talked about your wife because she's on the show as an inmate. And what I'm just saying, Zach, is she was going through hell in there.
She didn't tell me she was going through hell.
She shouldn't have had to. You were there for 60 days before.
And it wasn't hard for me, Jeff. That's what I'm telling you.
But it
wasn't hard for me going through jail.
What my problem is, Zach.
The experience that I had while I was in jail is what I used to base my thoughts on what she was going through in jail.
You're so full of you stink.
If you want to take it outside, we can.
No, all right, come on, all right. Is it fair, do you think, for Jeff to be able to say, you know, should have done things differently?
I don't have a problem with him critiquing the way that I reacted. What I have a problem with is him talking about my relationship with my wife, because it's none of his business.
Which was portrayed on television for us all to see. So just like people were judging me based on my experience as fans of the show, I'm watching season 2, and this is what I'm seeing. So I have a right, as a viewer, to judge.
And I welcome anyone who wants to meet me in person and talk to me about my relationship with my wife to meet me in person and talk to me about my relationship with my wife.
And that's what I'm doing.
Should we move on? Let's take it down a notch and let's talk about a different topic that doesn't relate to either of you personally. Stephanie, an inmate who got really close with one of the participants, Mona Lisa. Are you concerned about how close she got?
Yeah, because Stephanie's really street smart. She's very manipulative.
Here's our genius right here. We love her.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would ever trust anybody in jail, but I think I trust Stephanie.
So that does concern me. When Mona Lisa started getting close to Stephanie, I'm like, man, it's the wrong one. It's the wrong person to put your trust in.
All right, let's talk for a moment about Cherie. She's taking some pretty extreme measures to get a message out of the pod here. Sheriff, are you concerned that there could be consequences for her on the inside?
It is concerning because inmates, as you know, and they know, watch everything that goes on. And anytime somebody passes a note out to the guard, even if it's a legitimate note like a medical issue, inmates start getting suspicious. So it is a dangerous move for her to do that.
If I was going to slip a note on the door, I'd let somebody read it before I did it.
Absolutely.
Because then there would be proof that I wasn't telling on anybody.
Zach, let's talk about Ryan real quick.
I believe Garza does trust me a little more now that I've been able to help him. But at the same time, I gained a lot of respect for Garza because he will defend himself, he will defend his honor, he will defend his reputation, his word, his friends.
So what did you do?
He legitimately did get this as a result of an injury from the basketball game.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you think he needs to do to not fall in too deep with the inmates?
He's just got to remember who he is and what his job is there to do. I mean, he's there for a job to get information for the sheriff. You're not there to make friends and influence people. You're there to do a job.
Thanks to everyone for being here. We appreciate it. We hope that maybe two of you guys will have a beer sometime. I don't expect that'll happen, but that would be a nice thing to happen in theory. After that intense moment on set between Zack and Jeff, we went down and asked what happened.
What happened in there with Jeff?
So when I said what I said about Jeff and calling for extra backup, that wasn't meant to be derogatory towards him. I didn't attack his family. And you can say anything in the world you want to about me. It doesn't bother me at all. You talk about my wife, we got problems.
It just felt good to get it off my chest, man. You know, he just completely disrespected me the whole time. I wanted to take care of this before it was on camera. When we were outside of the studio, I saw him walk in and I said, hey, and he said, hey. And he didn't even take another look at me. Screw him.
According to him, I'm so full that he can smell it. He's not gonna believe this. But 100%, I am not out to harm anyone or hurt anyone or try to belittle or make anyone feel smaller. That has never been my desire. And I would like to apologize. If you want to take it outside, we can. That was not right and I shouldn't have done that.